all sanded round now, all round our wing section and fuselage section, so we can just go ahead now and get this glued on. And already, I mean, this isn't even glued and it looks such a nice fit. Okay, this sometimes can be quite problematic with some builds, but this kit is absolutely a beautiful fit all round. Okay, so we're just going to come along using some of our Tamiya extra thin cement. Okay, and we're going to just start here where the wing meets our fuselage. Okay, and we're just applying this. Okay, so if there's any little kind of micro gaps going on, this Tamiya extra thin will probably most likely take care of those little gaps. Okay, and we're talking like the really small gaps, okay, that, you know, it takes care of, because it basically melts both pieces of plastic together. Okay, it doesn't actually glue like a super glue, you know, it actually merges and melts and welds the two pieces of plastic, which is where you can have that nice little advantage of it actually you know, filling in some of the smaller gaps. Okay, so I'm just gluing all the way around this. It does look like we're going to have this one and probably the first gap of this whole model, which is just here at the back, which is pretty kind of standard really. For any Spitfire, any manufacturer, they always seem to not quite get that bit right. Although we might have one here. Okay, so let's just see if a little push down won't sort it. Maybe that's all it needs, just a little bit of a push. Okay, we've got a little bit more there. Okay, so looking at this, I mean, it has gone in quite nicely all round. That little push there sorted out another gap there. But yeah, I mean, a little bit of sanding just at the front there, just to take care of a little seam line we're going to have there. And it looks like it's almost gone, but there's always this little bit of a line going across there, and that seems to be actually, now that the glue's gone in there and welded it together, has almost kind of killed off that bit of a gap. So really there's like no more work that needs to go in to kind of like this actual section we've just glued in on here. Not much, a little bit of sanding. It's actually fitted really nice. Okay, the next thing as well, we've also got a little bit of an engine area here that we want to glue on as well, so we may as well get this down. Okay, let's rotate this nicely. Okay, let's get you on camera as well, and we can just start by applying a nice bit of glue just to start sealing in this engine area as well. And just a bit at the back here. Okay, and that looks really nice fit. It is actually quite impressive actually how well this aircraft fits together. You're not really going to have much of a problem. So basically we've now got our basic structure. Okay, so I've got a few other things to kind of do and tidy up and everything. So while this dries, okay, and then once it's dried, you want to kind of sand down just here where we've had the fuselage and thingy join, and probably a little bit just at the back of here. Okay, so I'll be back in a sec. Right, so this has had some nice time to dry now. Okay, so what we want to do is we just want to come along with a bit of a nice fine sanding stick, a sponge, okay, and this doesn't really need much of a sanding now. I mean, just here where we've got a joint, okay, a little bit of a light sanding, okay, because we've got such a nice really kind of well fitting seam here, shall we say. Okay, you don't have to come along and do all that filling and sanding and scribing really. I mean, just a light fine sand here, okay, and that really has nicely sealed that in, okay, with no real need for filling or any heavy sanding. Okay, so it's really nice and easy and really cool how it fits together. Okay, because it just means that we only need to give this light bit of a sanding, and there you go, a nice seamless seam line. Okay, nice and easy. Maybe a little bit more here than the other side. Okay, but that looks really nice now. We have got just at the back of here, okay, I made a little bit of a mistake. I don't know if you can see, but you might notice that the Tamiya extra thin cement, I kind of applied a little bit too much. Maybe if I just bring you in, you can see. Okay, but there's like little kind of marks on there as you just maneuver it in the light. Okay, that is basically where you know, I've added a bit too much of the Tamiya extra thin, and it's just kind of oozed out. Well, it's kind of just gone out a bit, and it's gone on the plastic, and basically it's just melted the surface of the plastic, and it's made it a little bit rough. Okay, so if we come along and spray on top of that, we're going to notice these little marks just lightly. So you just want to come along and just smooth off the surface. Okay, you just want to smooth out and just lightly sand, okay, these little tiny marks that we've made a little mistake with the with our Tamiya extra thin cement, just so that when we come along and do all our spraying and everything, we haven't got these nasty little marks. Okay, and that's just a light little sand in there, nothing major. Okay, and maybe what you might want to do now is you've just given that a little bit of a sanding. Okay, so you might want to just come along with your pea cutter and maybe just tidy up your recessed panel lines. Okay, not any major scribing, it's just a light little kind of run across, nice and freehand. Okay, and just tidy that up just a little bit. Okay, so that's something you might want to do. Okay, we've also got just in here, okay, it's a little tricky place, okay, but you've got like a little bit of a kind of a seam line just there where it's just joined. I mean, the wing, okay, we've nicely sanded, got all nice and seamless, but where it just has this bit of a join here, okay, we've got a little bit of a seam line to sort out there. Okay, it's one of these things where, you know, you might miss it, okay, and you don't really want to miss it. Okay, so we want to come in with the skinny sticks just to get in there, okay, nicely into that corner where you probably wouldn't be able to so much. We like the big one, okay, and we just get in there and we give that a sand as well. Okay, just like so, with the nice skinny sticks. Keep at it and you should eventually get there, because it is a nice fit. We don't need to come in with, you know, mediums, coarses and all this kind of stuff. You know, you should hopefully get away with this. If you do need to come in, you know, maybe get like one of the finest mini sanding sticks, like these ones, if you remember. You can come in with them. And we've also got a little bit of a gap going on up here. Okay, now you could fill it in with green putty, give it a right good sanding, but then you're going to be re-scribing everything, and it's not that much of a bad gap. Okay, so, you know, back to my all favourite kind of filling technique, and that is our Vallejo plastic putty. We can just apply it to the little gap that we've got here. Okay, like so. Maybe we could just go all the way around. Okay, and this is where our wing section attached to our fuselage section, as you can see in white. We can then get some cotton wool buds, okay, a little bit of a lick or some sort of moisture, okay, and you just wipe away the kind of the excess plastic putty, okay, just off the top, so that you just leave in to our little gaps, okay, the plastic putty, and as you can see in white, hopefully we've just given that a nice bit of a fill in. And then what you could do is with your P cutter you can remove your plastic putty from, say, your recessed panel lines where, you know, the plastic putty has just got into, say, some recessed panel lines, okay, and because it's all still nice and wet, you know, we don't have to worry about using templates, okay, because we've still got this nice bit of a recess there for you to be able to work with and do it freehand as a nice guide, okay. I mean, you can wait for it to dry as well if you want to. If it's proven to be, you know, a bit tricky, wait for it to dry maybe, but I'm quite happy just to come along and give that a bit of a scribe, not exactly a scribe shall we say, we're just kind of removing the plastic putty from the recesses, okay, and as you can see we've nicely filled that, and the cool thing is with this stuff, I mean, we can spray a primer coat on this later, and if it's still not looking quite right we can just apply some more plastic putty, you know, and wipe away with a cotton wool butt, and it doesn't matter that we spray paint on it because we're not sanding, we're just wiping away with a cotton wool butt. So it's a really cool technique which, you know, if you really get some of this stuff and really start using it, you'll find that your work just seems to end up being a bit neater, okay, because you're not coming along and sanding stuff. So then, because, you know, when you sand stuff, right, you're chopping away, you're eating away at the plastic, okay, you're sanding the plastic down, you're sanding away all your nice detailed recessed panel lines, okay. You know, if you can come along and use this technique where you're not doing any sanding, you're just filling that gap, wiping away the excess, and, you know, you're leaving all that nice detailed plastic in its original form, you know, it does look neater and it's quicker and it's easier, and it just makes the whole hobby just, you know, it just kind of makes it a bit more fun, because we don't want to be faffing around, filling, sanding, scribing all the time, you know. If you got to do it, you got to do it. But you know, if you can make a neater job and do it with an easier, nicer technique, you know, definitely go for it. I think my whole modelling has improved and been more fun and easier by using this technique, so definitely recommended. So basically I'm going to do the rest of that off camera. I'm going to tidy up all the rest of the sanding because I haven't done it all, just to kind of speed things up, so I'll do the rest of that off camera. Now what I want to talk about now is our canopy, okay. Right, we want to get this canopy polished up and looking really nice like glass, okay, so it really does look as if it's not a piece of plastic but it's actually a nice bit of glass, okay. Now there are two real methods of kind of doing this. The one is coming along, okay, and I'll just get one of these spare bits here and I'll just cut it off, okay. Basically you cut off your little kind of your canopy here, but you cut off and try and leave a bit of a tab, okay, like I've just done there. I've cut off and I've left that nice bit of a tab there, okay. You come along with like some tweezers, okay, and you use a little tab as like as a means to kind of hold your canopy like so, okay, so that you're not touching any of your canopy area. And what you basically do is you come along, you get a jar or something, okay, and you get something like your Pledge clear wax, okay, and what you would do, and we could probably just get away with showing you, is we could just pour this into, say, the cup itself, because I mean it is a bit of a small canopy, okay. So you've got your gloss paint, what we use, which is the clear Pledge multi-surface wax, and you simply dip, okay, the canopy in there, okay, like so, and then you can just kind of tap on the just kind of move it on the side just to get any of like the build-up of our multi-surface wax just so we don't have like pools of it. Okay, we just want a nice kind of a glaze, a filter kind of application, so it's just nice and even all over the canopy and not pooling up anywhere. Okay, and what you might want to do as well, just to make sure you don't have any pooling up, because it will kind of go a bit yellow if you've got pools of it anywhere building up, they will go yellow. So you can just get a tissue and just touch the edges, okay, so as the multi-surface wax goes nicely onto the tissue. Okay, and just touch the edges, wait, and don't actually touch the glass areas. And what you end up is with, you know, a canopy that is going to look really nice and shiny. Okay, you're gonna have to kind of put that maybe there, something like a box like this. Maybe you could put it inside the box, close the lid so that no dust goes on it, because if any dust goes on it, okay, while it's drying, that dust is going to be on there and it's going to look a bit naff. Okay, so basically you leave that to dry, and you want to leave it for a good 2 days to go proper rock hard, properly dry, properly cure before you do any masking up. Okay, and that should give you a nice shiny canopy. Okay, however, this is a method that I don't particularly like to do. Okay, and I don't like to do this method. Well, I mean, this method is good as a nice, quick, easy way of shining up your canopies, and they do look really nice and shiny, but I do find things can go wrong with this method. I mean, they can all work nice and fine and everything, but they can go wrong. Things that I've found that can happen is if you've got any dust or any bits of hairs or anything on your canopy and you've dipped it, okay, that is going to be literally encased in the your gloss coat, gloss dipping that you've just done here, you know, and it's just going to be permanently there. Okay, that's one problem. The next problem is if you've got any marks on the canopy, say you've masked up, okay, and you've sprayed, and you've got maybe a bit of an overspray, okay, from spraying, you know, if you want to clean up that overspray, you can have well, the one trick and the technique to get rid of like bits of overspray or problems on your canopy when you demask right at the end is you can nicely come along, you know, and maybe dip your cotton wool bud into, say, some X20A thinners, and you can just wipe it up and clean it up, and it'll look really, really nice, and you can get it back, you know, no problems. But if you've dipped it, you come along and wipe cotton wool bud with Tamiya extra thin cement, X20A thinners, you're going to be wiping away at the gloss that you've just dipped in, and it's going to go all smudgy and horrible and all this kind of stuff. So if you have problems with your canopy down the road, I find that with the dipping method, okay, it will create more problems for you. Okay, although it's easy, okay, it is, as I say, it's more problematic. I like the method where we come along and, you know, you put a bit of elbow grease in and we actually polish the canopy by hand, because when you polish the canopy by hand, okay, any problems like I've just mentioned about overspray and stuff, and you want to kind of remove a bit of spray paint, okay, no problem, come along with X20A thinners, wipe it away with cotton wool bud, no problems. You know, things like dust and debris, you can wipe them away, no problems. Okay, and I do actually think you get a better shine from polishing up yourself. Okay, plus as soon as I have polished this up by hand, I can then come along and whack on my masking. I can mask this up straight away, straight after, whereas with the dipping method you've got to wait about 2 days before you do any masking up, or you're going to end up, the masking tape's going to kind of stick to the actual gloss that you've just dipped that into. So I do like this method, and this method, as you probably might have seen already, basically, you know, you've got these Tamiya polishing compounds. Okay, there's 3 in the set that you can get. all you really need to do, if you've got a half decent, pretty good shiny canopy, you can just jump straight into the finish and save yourself quite a lot of time. If you've got a pretty dull old canopy, okay, you might want to come in and start with coarse, fine, and then finish. But in this case, we're all good, so you can come along and we can add a bit of our polish to the end of our rag, and we just simply apply this, okay, to the top of our canopy. Let's bring you in a little bit more first, okay, and plain and simply you just keep on doing nice circles, okay, and just polishing in this polish into the canopy to make it all kind of nicely worked in, and you just keep on going at it, okay, until all this white polish basically disappears, okay, and that you can't see it anymore, so that way you know the polish is nicely worked into the canopy, okay, like so. And it's probably looking, you know, not very shiny, shall we say, okay, because we haven't buffed it yet, okay. Now you're probably not going to see this on camera. You never see like clear shiny stuff properly on camera, you know, it's something you've just got to see in person. But I've got a nice clean part of a rag now, okay, and this is where we're going to buff off the polish, and you might be able to hear the squeaking noise. Now the squeaking noise says, okay, that you've done a good job basically. If it's nice and squeaky, it's nice and shiny. Okay, now I've just polished one off, well, buff should I say, one off of this canopy, okay, and you are probably most likely not going to see this on camera, but we'll see if you can, okay. And I've just polished that half there, okay, and that half hasn't been polished, shall we say. Well, not buffed, shall we say. We've polished it, but we haven't buffed it, okay. And you probably could tell it has kind of really nicely come up. Hopefully you can tell. If you can't tell, trust me, I mean, this is looking like glass now, okay, which is just what you want, which really gives you that nice effect, okay. And the cool thing is, I mean, once you've polished it, I mean, that's it, you've polished it, okay. I've come to the end of a build and I've unmasked the canopy, and it might look a little bit dull from, say, the Tamiya masking tape may have left a little bit of, you know, some of its stickiness behind. You might have had a bit of wash kind of get under the masking tape, you know, you might have a bit of overspray and it might look a bit dull, but really you come along with a cotton wool bud, okay, and literally you don't have to use X20A, you can just come along with, say, a little bit of water on the end of cotton wool bud, you know, and you can re-polish it up, re-buff it up with a cotton wool bud, you know, and it comes back up shiny again, nice, quick and easy. You know, once you've done that polishing and shining, you know, any marks on it, you've only got to just give that little bit of a polish up again and it's back to normal, okay. So that is basically polishing. If you can do that all nice and everything to all your canopies, you know, although it does take a bit more time, as you've just seen, you know, it is, I do think, a lot better. And I don't know if you're gonna tell, okay, but that's your dipped canopy and that's your polished up canopy, and although the dipping does look quite nice and shiny still, as I say, you can create problems in the future with dipping, whereas with the polishing side, you know, it's kind of more user friendly and less problems, but it's a little bit more work, shall we say. So now we've just polished that up, okay, we can come along and go straight in to doing some masking. So that's what I want to do now, is just want to show you, you know, making your own masks and masking this up, okay. Now it's a bit of a small canopy here, okay, so I'm just going to pull off a nice bit of, I think it's the 6mm Tamiya tape, okay, nice big bit, okay, and I'm gonna try and get this, okay, well, let's try and bring you in, okay, and we want to start say here, okay, right, and we basically want to save ourselves, okay, cutting our first line. Okay, so basically we've gone straight across there, okay, so we don't have to cut anything there, okay, because we've done it nice and straight where we want it, and then we can just pinch with our nail, okay, in the corner, and then pull this side up, okay, and we just want to pinch that corner and try and get, well, that corner's probably a bit too much of a 90 degrees, so we're going to try this corner instead. Okay, so I'm going to have to cut the other corner, but I'm pinching with my thumbnail and I'm just bringing this back. Okay, sorry, there's a boy racer going past, but I've just pinched that, okay, and I've just pressed it down, and we can just then follow, okay, our line that makes up our canopy edge, okay, and we can follow that all the way around, okay, and then we can get right to the corner again this end. Hopefully you've seen this. This is a bit of a small canopy to kind of show you really, and then we can pinch it again, okay, pinch it again and then pull across, okay, and then get it all nice and straight again, okay. So hopefully, as you can see, okay, what we've done, let's get this, okay, let's hold this, as you can hopefully see now, okay, we've basically, you know, done that nice bit of pinching, and we've gone all the way around this, following the edge of our canopy. So now we actually don't have to do any cutting around that part there, okay. So now if I just get a blade, and you want to have a nice new fresh blade on your actual cutter here, okay, because the sharper the blade, you know, the easier this is going to be, okay. And basically, okay, this was a bit of a 90-degree angle, shall we say, so we couldn't really fold this over, but I'm lifting this up to the light and using the light, okay, to shine through the edge of the canopy through our Tamiya masking tape, okay, so that we can see a line to hopefully nicely cut a really nice straight line, okay. And sorry this is off camera, but as I say, I mean, you've got to lift it up to a light source to show the transparency through the Tamiya masking tape, okay. And I've just done that now through the light, okay, and we've just cut that, and let's just bring you in, okay, and hopefully you can see I've just cut that now, okay, and we've just got this last little bit, okay, up here, so we can probably use some of our Tamiya masking tape that we've just cut off, okay, and we can start in the middle, okay, and try and fold this around, okay. Try to, however, this is one of these kind of curves, shall we say, which now the thing is with masking tape's happy to kind of curve that way, okay, but it's not quite happy to curve that way, okay. You'll understand what I mean when you get round to it. So what we can do here is we can cut our Tamiya masking tape to make it thinner, okay, and by making it thinner, we kind of, basically the thinner the masking tape is, the easier it is to get around those shall we say the negative curves for masking up, okay. Okay, like I've just done here, because it's a thinner masking tape, I'm able to curve this around a lot easier, okay, and just get some scissors, okay, and we can just chop these bits here, okay, like so, and then we can finish off with, as I say, some more spare masking tape, just to finish it off and get it all nice and sealed in. Okay, so that is, you know, basically a nice sort of easy way of doing a canopy. Now, as I say, this was a small canopy, might not have been that easy to show you on camera, okay, but hopefully you kind of get the general gist of it, you know. And it's one of these things, you're not going to pick it up the first time you do this. You are going to have to you know, do a few canopies, get used to it, get the gist of it, you know, kind of build up the experience, okay. But that is like the basic kind of principles of it. So if you can kind of follow that nice basic principle, you know, hopefully you'll save yourself a load of money buying masks, and hopefully neaten up your whole masking thing. So that was basically your canopies. So that is it until the next bit.